Street and stimulus. Incredible great news as Wall Street was blown away by the surprise that Mitch McConnell would be the lead Republican and the person to give you stimulus. It's an idea that they like. He is now in. Mitch McConnell is in. And Steve Mnuchin is out, negotiating your stimulus. This is what Wall Street has always wanted, but was secretly not admitting it. We're going to find out the details why, as he's the one that's going to give you a stimulus. The question is who's going to be on the other side. Incredible, great news. I'm so excited for you. And this is Street and Stimulus. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Street and Stimulus with a recap of really what happened this week on the street with stimulus. In this video, I feature why the street has been right all along about getting you stimulus, but why they did not predict what happened on Tuesday. That was the GOP retaining control of the Senate. Not something they had betted on, but they are ecstatic, and you should be too. In this video, that will be coming up, but if you have not subscribed, be sure you go to the front of the channel, subscribe, because this is a great day of breaking news, and there's all so much coming on. And if you notice behind me on the set, those are actually the leaves from Holidays LALATE earlier today. Thank you for tuning in for that broadcast. We're bringing in some new programming, some exciting stuff, and thank you for the kind messages. Also, like this video. It helps with the algorithm. In this video, I'll be going over what the Wall Street is saying about stimulus, what the Fed is saying about stimulus, what you should be saying about stimulus, and why everything has changed so quickly and so fast, and what you should look for this coming Monday. Oh yeah, Monday. It's going to be a good weekend. So here we go, and let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is here today is that Wall Street went through an incredible ride over the last 7 days. I mean, it really has been very volatile. And they did not expect Mitch McConnell and the GOP to retain control of the Senate, but now they absolutely adore it. And the news coming out this afternoon from Fox Business is that Mitch McConnell is the lead stimulus negotiator going forward. Yes, Mitch is the lead negotiator for stimulus going forward, and that Steve Mnuchin is out. That the Temple Doom keeps on talking about the White House in her press releases the last 2 days, and everyone's just rolling their eyes. I'm like, the White House is sort of busy with some other stuff, and they're not really going to ever answer your phone calls. And that Mitch is saying, I'm the top gun, and you're going to be dealing with me, honey. And meantime, there's questions whether she will even be negotiating. All right, let's recap where we are, because I know it sounds like a lot to process in such a short period of time. But first, the Senate has remained Republican. Second, the House has remained Democratic. Third, everything that the Temple Doom and Wall Street had predicted to happen for the Senate to fall to the Democrats did not happen. And so her way or the highway is not happening. Next, this afternoon, insiders told Fox Business that Mitch McConnell has made very clear he is going to be the lead negotiator for your stimulus, and there's no one else involved. This is categorically incredible, great news, because he was ousted in May from the negotiations because they didn't like what he had done with HEROES Act 1. Oh, she didn't like it, I should say. So he's saying very clearly, I'm the guy. Guess what? I'm the guy. You got to deal with me. I'm taking a note. I'm penciling my name in, and Steve Mnuchin's out. Then, on the other side, there's questions whether Nancy Pelosi will be even back as Speaker of the House. The progressive Democrats want her out. A lot of moderates want her out. They call upon the focus of stimulus as the reason they want her out. One, that she doesn't know how to negotiate. Two, she has cost people fortunes. Three, she has really not been on touch of anything. And four, all she does is basically say, here's a bill, and just don't do anything unless you sign on the dotted line. That's not negotiating, and that's not how it works. So she may not be even back as your Speaker of the House. But what will be back this coming Monday is, yes, stimulus, by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is vowing to put stimulus front page and center on starting on Monday. This is incredible great news because Mitch McConnell moves faster than anyone else. He writes bills faster than anyone else, and this could tee up stimulus quicker than anyone had seen. Now let's turn to Wall Street because this is what this video is about, street and stimulus. What does Wall Street think? First of all, they're ecstatic. They are absolutely categorically ecstatic. As Jim Cramer on CNBC said, this is nirvana. That was his exact words, nirvana. Everyone in their right mind wants Republicans in control the Senate, and they generally want Democrats in control of the presidency. Let me explain what he's talking about. It is generally well perceived among insiders and analysts on Wall Street that you don't want a Democratic Senate. The reason is why you could suddenly see bills that are passed that are giving trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to things that don't need money and just spend, and suddenly nothing is getting in the hands of American people. And suddenly there could be regulations and breakups of companies and very scary things, and then higher taxes. Jim Cramer points to the three things that were worrying Americans going into Tuesday, which were higher taxes, which Joe Biden had vowed for, $7 trillion of pothole bills, which Joe Biden had detailed, and third, big stimulus that didn't give stimulus to you. And now all that is gone. All that is gone, and we're back to what is important, stimulus for you. And what's important to understand is that's what's going to happen. That is categorically what's going to happen. Wall Street's saying today and all this week, that's what's going to happen. Narrower stimulus, they'll call it underwhelmingly stimulus or smaller stimulus or less robust stimulus. What they're talking about is it won't be $7 trillion. It won't be 3.5. Everyone's looking at the 3.5 and sort of laughing at this now. And it won't be 2.5 either. Now, what's incredible great news, and you need to be laser focused on as well, is that Mitch has access to the $800 billion. Mitch could take my money. Mitch could take my money. I talked about that before. That $800 billion now Mitch can repurpose for your stimulus checks. Let's do the math because we love our math. Let's do the math. Mitch McConnell has $800 billion that he can repurpose for anything. That's the money that Donald wanted to have repurposed. Well, now Mitch can do it. Then how much does Mitch want to spend overall on new CARES Act stuff, new second stimulus money? He wants to spend somewhere between about 1.5, 1.6. What happened to Steve's offers? Oh, yeah. Poof. They're gone. 1.8, which she didn't take, gone. 1.9, which she didn't take, gone. 1.7, she didn't take, gone. 1.6, gone. Every single thing that she could have had is gone. Oh, darling, that's gone. She's never going to get it. She's never going to get it. Now what she's going to get is 1.5, 1.2, 1.1, and you can repurpose the $800 billion. So you, Purple Power, are lined up very nicely if you get Mitch to repurpose the money exactly where it has to be repurposed. And this is what Wall Street is focused on. They don't want that big deficit spending. They don't want the $3 trillion just made Wall Street very anxious. The $7 trillion for the pot bills made Wall Street just nervous as hell. And then regulation of big tech companies and breaking up big tech companies. Oh my God, that was a worst case scenario. So what Wall Street is laser focused on is stimulus checks, FPUC, and expiring deadlines. These stories were all across broadcast news of the business channels today. They were talking about what Jerome Powell said, which is stimulus needs to be coming out now and needs to be going out, even if it's just some. That's yours. And it needs to come out fast because the economy is working on fumes. It does not have stimulus for it. There you go. And that Jerome Powell has traditionally said stimulus needs to land in the hands of the American people. There you go. Not in the hands of big government, not in the hands of the Justice Department as salary raises or Department of Trademark salary raises. No, it needs to land in your hands. So this is categorically incredible. What's important to understand is Purple Power, you need to be tagging Mitch and the Republicans and the Democrats in the Senate because they need to get the message out that it needs to include stimulus checks, It needs to repurpose the $800 billion of stimulus checks, and it has to put in there the extension of PUA, FPUC, UI, because they're expiring or have expired. What Broadcast Business News is worried about tonight is that millions and millions of Americans have used up their UI weeks, went on to FPEUC. That's expiring in just a few weeks. PUA, federal PUA, is expiring in just a few weeks. FPUC has also expired. So you literally have millions and millions of Americans, I think it was 28 million, that could in a few weeks have no FPUC already, then have no UI, have no PUA, literally have zero. And so they said, no, you can't do this. No, get it done right away. And that's why Mitch says he's going to get it done right away. He's going to do it starting next week. It's going to be front page center, and Mitch moves faster than anyone you know. So it absolutely is imperative that you get the narrative out there. Why? Because Mitch is going to do this stuff very fast, and you need to make sure the deal provisions are correct. First, the amount per week. Second, the retroactiveness. And third, that it goes far enough into the future. I talk about second stimulus and third stimulus a lot on this channel. Third stimulus is what is going to get you through the pandemic. But if Mitch puts enough weeks in there that going forward continues this all the way to, let's say, April of next year, then we don't need third stimulus. Then we're covered. You need to make sure that the $800 billion is repurposed for you, and that you need to ensure that everything else that you're entitled to is in there. What Wall Street has been tracking all week long has been the bond market. And ultimately, when the bond market is flat, they're fine. When the bond market is down a little bit, they're fine. But when the bond market is up, and it's up too much, they know that stimulus is coming, but they think that stimulus is really robust. Now that Wall Street sees that Mitch is in control, the bond market won't trade up as high as I have been telling you all week it'll trade up. Remember I said if the bond market trades up the 10-year Treasury note, then Wall Street says, oh, the stimulus is coming right away. Now that the stimulus package may not be 3 trillion or 7 trillion, now that it may be 1.5 or 1.8 or 1.2 or 1.4, then the bond market is not going to trade up as much as it would have traded up before. Meantime, Wall Street is still jittery about the number of COVID cases. I mean, they were jittery when it was 88,000 about 7 days ago. Then it went to 100. Then it went to 110. And now tonight is reportedly 120. They're also concerned about lockdowns. There is nothing in place to ensure that a lockdown stimulus is ready and teed up to go. And so with that, they're saying, get it done. Get it done really loud and clear. Meantime, Jerome Powell concluded 2 days of testimony before the FMOC, and he said, I'm not going to change monetary policies currently, but I will tell you this. You need to pass stimulus right away. Even if there's some stimulus and it's not all the stimulus you want, that was basically saying pass Mitch's bills, pass something that Mitch wants to give you with checks and FPUC, get it out, because ultimately he was not happy with where this economy is. He said, okay, the new jobs number was out Friday. Yeah, it's good, but that's when we had stimulus. Okay, last Thursday we had the GDP number, really good. Okay, but that's when we had stimulus. And so all these numbers are tied to the relief from stimulus. He said the economy has not rebounded to where it was before the pandemic. So he says we need that stimulus to go out right now, and land in the hands of the American people. This is incredible, great news. I mean, it just keeps on getting better and better and better. And so what's important for you to understand is everyone on Wall Street says that stimulus is coming. Everyone says it needs to be stimulus in your hands. Everyone says the stimulus is needed right now because the economic numbers we're seeing now that are positive are based upon prior stimulus. And that ultimately Wall Street's very excited that Mitch McConnell is the guy doing this because they don't like a Democratic Senate majority. It scares the hell out of them. And so what you're going to see over the next few days is Wall Street dealing with the issue of whether there is uncertainty from contested elections, whether the contested elections are really much of anything to be even legally concerned about, or are much of nothing. With the spiking number of COVID-19 cases, how soon will we have the stimulus? And then finally, where do the numbers land with so many people about to fall off of relief? That is the incredible focus, and that is the incredible message tonight. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE. Please stay tuned for Evenings LALATE and Purple Power. I will have 2 bombshell recordings. I don't want you to miss either of them. I know Evenings LALATE sometimes is a little late on the East Coast for some viewers, but please don't miss those recordings. Maybe one will be live. As always, go to the front of the channel, subscribe because we're going to get through this pandemic together, and no one's keeping you more up to date than I am. And also like this video. As always, stay tuned for Evenings LA coming up next, and stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.